Hey guys, Dirty Jake here with another episode of Backyard Sportscast. Have my co-host here, Danny. And how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. So we're going to have more of a structured podcast today. Kind of be more of the norm. Last week we had our college football preview. So if you want to check that out. We got some social media up. You can catch us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. So go ahead and check us out, Backyard Sportscast. Drop a comment or tweet about this episode, whatever you're thinking. And
you can also find me at Dubdish. That's at DUBDISCH. And if you want to find my co-host here, Jacob Campmore, that's at Jacob Camp.
Not to get confused, it's not two of the at symbols. It's at and then ATJAKECAMP. So at Jake Camp. At the time, I thought it was funny. I think that still holds true, personally.
He still doesn't know his Twitter handle. That's at JACOBCAMP.
Ah, so not Jake, it's Jacob. Huh.
There you have it.
Hopefully that's my only mistake for the day, but I doubt it. So we're going to go ahead and just dive into our first segment. It's something I like to call, Whoa, Bro! And that's when we talk about some fun stuff that's been happening the last week or two. So, ready for me to just dish them to you, Dub Dish?
Yeah. Set them up.
So first one, OBJ injury.
All right. I don't think this was dirty.
No, I think it was pretty legal.
Yeah.
People like to complain about it, though.
Yeah, he hit him low, but let's calm down.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
I understand it's preseason. People are getting upset because the star got hurt in preseason.
Tryhards.
But hitting somebody low is just part of the game. You can't hit them high anymore, so you got to go low.
Yeah.
And other than that, this guy, the guy that hit him, I don't even know his name. He's probably fighting for a roster spot.
He's got it now.
You expect him to just not try and tackle OBJ because he's OBJ? Is that what they're wanting? People are pissed that he went too hard in the preseason. Well, he's fighting for a roster spot, so he needs to go as hard as he possibly can to make the team. He's not like OBJ. He doesn't have a guaranteed spot. If you don't want him to get hurt, don't play him in the game.
Yeah, and if you don't hit him, OBJ will hit you. I mean, he's probably scared of him. I mean, do you see that kind of stuff he did last season on the sideline? OBJ? He's a freak. So, that's the first one. Next one is we're going into the world of soccer, heading over across the season to Europe. Let's talk about Neymar. He's talking trash about his old team Barcelona's board of directors.
All right, let me preface this by saying I am a huge Neymar fan.
He's currently wearing their jersey.
I am wearing his old Barcelona jersey, which I now have to replace with a PSG jersey. He has started well at PSG. He's 2 games in, 3 goals, 3 assists. It's a good start. Yeah, it's great. So, anyway, after the game, he spoke about the board of directors at Barcelona. So
in Spanish, mind you.
No. Portuguese. Anyway.
Same thing.
Barcelona's board of directors he was talking on. He says that he has nothing to say about them other than the fact that he feels like maybe they're not setting the team up to win like they should be.
Whoa, bro!
Okay. They let him walk out the door. Iniesta's talking about leaving. There's rumors about Messi going to Man City. They're now trying to sue Neymar for a breach of contract, which I think they're going to end up losing. Neymar is counter-suing for a bonus that he didn't get paid. It's a mess in Barcelona right now. I'm not really sure what they're doing over there. The players all seem to be fine, hanging out with each other. There's no bad blood there, but apparently the board just can't let it go.
So there you have it. Anyways, next one. John Jones failing his drug test again. Can I get a whoa, bro?
Yeah, this one was probably the biggest whoa, bro, of the week. I just don't get it. He's already failed the drug test. He was suspended for a year, I think. Now they find out after his Cormier fight, which was highly publicized because Cormier kept talking trash about John Jones taking drugs, and he failed the drug test at that pay-per-view. So I don't really know what to think about this. He got caught once. I think he blamed it on some sort of male enhancement drugs. And if he did it again, I don't know really what to say about it other than he's just dumb. He's probably done in the UFC, if I had to guess. I don't see him fighting again. Minimum 3-4 year ban, but I just think it's going to push him too far out. I don't understand how this happened again.
It's hard to drop it when you have that good. Yeah.
I don't know, man. He was at his height one of the best UFC fighters I've ever seen personally. But with this, his name's tarnished, his legacy's tarnished. He'll probably never fight again in the UFC.
All right, so next one up, Dante Fowler Jr. charged with battery, mischief, and theft from a fight in July. Florida great, right? One of the finest from the
speaking
Gators.
of, there was a Florida wide receiver and another Florida player today
Robinson.
in the news for marijuana.
Yeah, possession. Yeah, misdemeanor.
They're just not having a good couple months. You know, they had,
Come on, Coach Mac. Stop
Yeah.
taking pictures with sharks and Coach.
the Wobro might be aimed at the University of Florida for this one. Callaway got in trouble. He's going to miss the Michigan game along with 6 other players. They're a mess right now.
They're trying to lose to Michigan, I guess.
They need to get that all figured out. But yeah, Dante Fowler apparently got into an altercation with some guy, stepped on his glasses.
He couldn't see without his glasses.
He could face up to 1 year in jail. I doubt he sees any jail time, but come on, man. Just don't mess up.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, don't do illegal things.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. All right, so this is the biggest one just developed today. Take you over to the realm of baseball. Yankees versus Tigers.
Yeah,
All-out showdown.
We were just talking about this off the air. So in case you missed it, we had Tommy Conley, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Something weird like that.
He threw behind Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera didn't take too kindly to it. Girardi got ejected. And then before the next pitch was even thrown, Cabrera and Romine, the catcher, started throwing punches.
Yep.
And
Cleared the bench.
Yeah, bench is cleared. Everybody came out onto the field, had a little nice conversation.
It was as crazy as a baseball brawl fight can get. It's usually a slap fest, but...
Right, a lot of missed punches, some rolling around, and that was about the end of it.
I saw someone trip over himself,
Yeah.
like running into the crowd.
That usually happens as well. The bullpens come out, and they're not used to running, so...
Yeah. And then later in the game, Romine gets thrown out. And then later on in the game, Dylan Betances drills James McCann right in the head, right in the dome.
Yeah, this one I think might have been accidental. I don't know.
Oh, man, that was pretty
He throws super hard. And I don't think somebody that throws that hard, I don't think you're going to aim at somebody's head intentionally. I know there was bad blood. He may have been trying to hit him in the side or something and got away from him. But Dylan Betances is super wild normally. So I think this one just got away, and because of what happened earlier, the bench is cleared again.
Yeah.
Words were exchanged. Verlander got into it a little bit, but no punches thrown here.
Yeah. And then the last time, later on in the game, Alex Wilson goes ahead and decides to drill Todd Frazier. Bench is cleared again, but clearly the Tigers wanted the last laugh. So
Yeah, that one was clearly intentional. Right in the ribs. And it was right after Detroit had taken the lead back for the last time. Detroit ended up winning the game. But I think they got the last laugh with the win and with the last plunking. Bench is cleared again, by the way. All the pitchers that did everything have been thrown out at this point. But
and it all started because Miggy got to bat. A pitch gets thrown behind him, and you know what he says?
yeah.
Whoa, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So that's what we have for that segment. Lots of fun stuff. This is why you gotta love sports, right?
Yeah, so we like to start it out a little light for you today.
Speaking of brawls,
Oh, boy.
you want to go ahead and jump into the big fight.
All right, get into our number one topic today. This weekend, the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight in Las Vegas, Nevada, August 26th, 9 p.m. I believe the main card starts. They say that the main fight's supposed to start at 11, but we all know that it's probably not going to start until about 11:30, 11:45.
Yeah, close to midnight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people are going to pay a lot of money, probably us included, and we're going to end up watching something for maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but there's a lot of bets going around on the internet for that one. Some good odds.
So let me go ahead and break this down.
Okay.
Is it okay with you if I break it down now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So Conor McGregor, 29-year-old. He's southpaw in the MMA. 21-3 with 18 knockouts. Pretty good in the MMA. He's a mixed martial artist. Never boxed a match in his life. Decides to take on a boxing great, Floyd Mayweather. Old man, 40 years old. Retirement for 2 years now. He's 49-0 in the boxing ring with 26 knockouts. He was only knocked down once in his career, kind of due to a hand injury, so it was a iffy.
Yeah, that's the only official knockdown. There's some videos out there where he gets roughed up a little bit. There was one that was called a slip that might have been a knockdown, but then this knockdown was really kind of dumb. He was in his fight, he punched the man, and then he hurt his hand, and then he put his other hand on the ground. Officially, it's considered a knockdown.
Well, that's why you're not a ref at the boxing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Conor McGregor decides to leave MMA to go ahead and fight Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was enjoying retirement, but I guess, anybody would go into a boxing ring, and take a couple punches for a guaranteed $100 million minimum. And that's before pay-per-view sales and all that kind of stuff and marketing. And
yeah, that's the one thing that's for certain. They're both going to walk away with a large sump of money. And
both of them expected to make around $100 million, and that's...
sump means, but cut that out. A large sum of money.
So anyways, McGregor is pretty hell-bent on, taking out Mayweather. He said he can take him out in 2 rounds. Yeah. So, he's... despite his confidence, though, Mayweather still has 1-4 odds of winning. 8-11 odds by knockout, technical knockout, or DQ. So it's not looking too good for McGregor, but anything can happen. I don't think McGregor has a chance, but
yeah, it's tough. Coming over from MMA, he just got his boxing license. He hasn't officially boxed anyone in his career. He's 0-0. He does have power in his hands. He's got a puncher's chance, as they say, but going up against somebody who's known for his defense in the boxing world, who's never lost, who's only been knocked down once in his career, it's a really tall order. I know Mayweather's 40 years old, but I just don't see it. I don't think McGregor's going to connect all that often. I could see Mayweather taking it all 12 rounds and just winning on points like he does most of his other fights. He doesn't knock a lot of people out anymore. But we'll see. I'd love to see him win. He's cocky as all hell, but he's fun to watch. They're both great promoters. That's why they're going to make so much money on this deal. And, if McGregor loses, he always has his 2 belts in the MMA. Well, now just 1 belt in the UFC to fall back on, so...
Yeah, so, and some people are saying this is the most anticipated fight since Muhammad Ali decided to fight some kind of sumo wrestler in, the 1970s. So,
yeah, I did hear about that as well. It was a Japanese wrestler that he went up against. They ended up fighting to a draw. It was supposed to be some sort of charity event. Muhammad Ali thought it was scripted, found out 3 days before the fight that it wasn't going to be scripted.
Shit had to go down.
And, he got... They instead of a boxing match, they allowed, I believe, kicking as well. They kind
Kickboxing?
They did it in sort of a mixed variation with different rules. And by the end of it, Ali's legs were all torn up because he had been kicked so many times. But they fought to a draw, so let's hope that doesn't happen Saturday, or there's going to be a lot of pissed off people.
Yeah. So that's all I got for the fight. Let us know what you think about it. Who you think's going to win? Something I thought was fun is 37-1 odds that the fight will finish within 59 seconds.
Yeah.
So to your question, is it going to go on past midnight? A lot of people think that it won't. It'll go a minute.
No. I mean, there's people that really don't think this fight's going to go 3 or more rounds, and there's a lot of people that think it'll go all 12. The one thing that I'm going to watch for, McGregor's trainer, the one that's been preparing him for this fight, John Kavanaugh, he said if Floyd Mayweather, at the beginning of the fight, if he does a back step at the beginning of the fight will go at least 6-7 rounds. If Floyd comes out swinging and does not take a back step right at the beginning and comes forward towards McGregor, he thinks McGregor's going to take him in 1 round. I know it's his trainer. That's a bold statement. I don't see it happening. I officially am going to say this ends in round 7 with Mayweather taking it by TKO or KO, but we'll see. There's always the small chance that McGregor gets himself DQ'd, which is a fun reason to watch as well. He could always throw a kick and lose a lot of money. I think in his contract, if he does any MMA stuff or kicks him, that he loses a lot of his purse.
Yeah, we'll keep that on the board. Danny says 7 rounds. I'm going to say 2 rounds.
2 rounds?
2 rounds.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to give him the benefit of 1 round. I have a feeling it's just going to be 1 round, but I'm going to say, at most 2 rounds.
All right.
We'll keep that on the board. We'll review it next week.
Yeah, if we're going to do that, then I'll give you rounds 1 to 5. It'll end in rounds 1 to 5, and then I'll say it'll go 6 or more. How about that?
Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay.
Danny and I were involved in our first fantasy football draft last weekend. We're in a league called Tampa Knights.
There you go.
So just wanted to review that a little bit about the surprises, sleepers, and busts, and provide a little bit of our expert fantasy knowledge that we have. So why don't you go ahead and kick that off, Danny?
All right. As he said, we went through a fantasy draft last weekend, Money League for all of us fun gents. 12-team league, half a point PPR.
I got to pause. Gents and one lady. There was a lady in there.
Ah, that is correct. We do have a lady, Dana. That is correct. Anyway, as I was saying, 12-team league, half a point PPR for all you fantasy nerds out there. We're not going to go through each team and review the teams because I think you guys would find that extremely boring. But for the surprises for this past week's draft, Ty Montgomery, the running back for the Green Bay Packers, went in round 3. This went to Dana, who is a huge Green Bay fan. I guess I have to disclose that. But that's a big surprise to me. There were much better running backs available at that position. And I just don't see Ty Montgomery getting a lot of carries in that offense. He may get some catches, but half a point PPR, it's not going to make a huge difference in this league. I don't see the value there.
More of a flex guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not... He's not going to get
RB2.
the volume that he needs for a round 3 pick. Also in the third round, Terrell Pryor, the wide receiver from Washington, went before Amari Cooper out of Oakland and DeAndre Hopkins out of Houston.
Whoa, bro.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise. This went to Travis, I believe. So this one's on you, Travis, if you're listening. DeAndre Hopkins, I get it. He doesn't have a quarterback that we know is capable of getting him the ball. But Amari Cooper's got Derek Carr. And I don't know why he went that way. Maybe he's got a real sleeper pick in Pryor there. I don't see it. I think Amari Cooper would have been a much better value, more consistent. Just a better option at that point. Jonathan Stewart went in round 6. Stewart. Only a few rounds after Christian McCaffrey, who's scheduled to start for the Carolina Panthers. Jonathan Stewart going to be the third down back, from what I've heard. I think it's a decent pick if Stewart's going to be the starter for second down back. But if he's only the third down back, I don't think we're really going to see a lot of value out of him there. Especially with Christian McCaffrey taking most of his carries. And then the Seahawks defense went in round 7. This was a 15-round draft. And just for perspective, I took my defenses in the 13th and 14th round. I'm a firm believer that you don't take your defenses or your kickers until the last rounds of the draft. So taking the Seahawks defense number 7. Yeah, I mean, once somebody takes it, then people start to freak out. But
I think I took my first defense round 9.
If you've got a draft coming up, just guess on a defense for your second to last pick. It's fine. You'll be fine. Don't reach round 7 picking up a defense. All right, but for the sleepers of the draft, I'll kick that over to you, Jake. How you feeling?
Yeah, so Joe Mixon, who's a rookie, I believe, he went round 5. Looking at him so far in the preseason, he has some great versatility. 47 rushes and 27 receiving yards in the preseason. The biggest concern with him is, that team has 3 good running backs. So splitting those snaps with Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill will probably take the majority of the snaps. So if he has enough snaps, to get some of those yards, to get some of those points up on the fantasy team board. So that's the biggest concern. But head coach Marvin Lewis did say that Mixon likes to run downfield like he's trying to score a touchdown. He said he's going to give him plenty of opportunities to do so. So we'll see how that goes. But I think he'll be good to get some points in there. He'll have a couple breakouts, I think. Next was Jordan Matthews. He went round 12. But he got traded over to the Bills. He's traveling tonight.
Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo Bill guy over here, Buffalo boy. He's going to Baltimore. He probably won't play. I think he has some kind of minor injury. Probably won't play, but he's traveling, so that's always a good sign. He has a really good opportunity to have the most targets for his team. So it would be a great flex position receiver. The first 2 seasons, he was top 25, which I think is good. He did drop over to 44 on the fantasy board last season, but he did have an injury. Kind of slowed him down a little bit. But, he'll be pretty good there. I think it's a good pickup, especially in round 12. The last one I have here is Ted Ginn Jr. He went round 15. He's the number 2 receiver for Drew Brees at the Saints. So it's kind of surprising that a number 2 receiver he's the deep threat of that offense goes in the last round of the draft. He's only had 2 targets this preseason, and he dropped one of them. But, you have to imagine that he should be a better worth than round 15. So I don't know I forgot who picked him up, but, that'll probably come in handy, especially as far as round value goes.
Yeah. those are some good sleepers in case you guys have a draft coming up. I'm going to go over some busts here now. Got 3 of them for you. Melvin Gordon being number 1. He went in round 1 in our draft. I think that's just a little too high. He did have a ton of touchdowns last year, so I see why people are taking him. I think it had to do with Keenan Allen being out. And I also think that, he took a lot of the criticism his rookie year when he scored 0 times. And he performed last year. I got to give him credit for that. But with Keenan Allen back and healthy and that offense ready to throw about 40, 50 times a game, I think Melvin Gordon will get his touchdowns, but I think it'll be closer to like 6, 7, not double digits like it was last year. Then we had Isaiah Crowell in round 3. Cleveland, I wouldn't recommend really taking anybody from the Browns right now until we know what that team's going to look like. On the depth chart is the number 1. He's got Duke Johnson, who's going to be used more as a receiver, I believe, this year. But Crowell was good in college. I don't see him being a great NFL running back. He hasn't performed fantastically these first couple of years. We'll see what he does this year, but I just think he's going to be a bust. That's way too high for him. And then another running back, round 4, Bilal Powell for the Jets.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, Bilal Powell.
It's like Louisville.
He's got Matt Forte behind him taking the third down snaps, and I am predicting that by round 8, Matt Forte will be the starter in New York. So I think Bilal Powell...
By round 8 or week 8?
Week 8.
You said round 8.
I apologize. By week 8, Matt Forte will be the starter in New York, and Bilal Powell will be seen during games, but he will not make a fantasy impact during games.
He'll be there.
So those are my 3 busts from our draft. We'll come back with a few more when we have our second draft coming up on the 31st.
All right. So now we'll just hop on over to college football. I know we talked all about that last week, so we won't be talking too much about it. But just kind of the AP poll came out this week, and kind of fun to kind of look over it. Kind of some shockers that were pretty high up there on the list. So Danny can break that down, and then I'll start talking about the games we're going to see this weekend.
I'm just going to run through it real quick for anybody who hasn't seen it from top to bottom. Actually, I'll go bottom to top. It makes it a little more fun. 25, you got the Tennessee Volunteers. 24, Washington State. 23, Texas Longhorns. 22, you've got West Virginia. 21, you got Virginia Tech. 20 is Kansas State out of the Big 12. 19, USF Bulls, the local team. Yes. 18, Miami Hurricanes. And then to finish up the run of Florida teams, at 17, you have the Florida Gators. Number 16 is Louisville and Lamar Jackson. 15, you got Georgia. 14, the Stanford Cardinals.
Fear the tree.
13, we've got the LSU Tigers. 12, Auburn Tigers. And 11, the Michigan Wolverines. We'll get to them in a second. 10, we've got Oklahoma State. 9, Wisconsin Badgers. 8, Washington Huskies. Some people have them in the playoff this year. 7, the Oklahoma Sooners. 6, Penn State Nittany Lions. 5, the Clemson Tigers. 4, the USC Trojans. 3, you got the Florida State Seminoles. 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And, of course, at number 1, you have the Alabama Crimson Tide. So you got a 1v3 matchup coming up in week 1, since this is technically week 0, as they're calling it. The dumbest thing I've heard of. But anyway, a couple teams I got ranked too high here. I don't really have many that are ranked too low. I feel like that'll remain to be seen. I think that we're overhyping 3 teams in particular. One being the Michigan Wolverines at number 11. They're returning 5 starters from last year. They lost upwards of 40 seniors last year. They were 10-3, which is a respectable record. Would keep them in between the 9 to 15 range for this year. But
5 starters returning.
Yeah, five returning starters. I just don't see it personally. I think that when you lose that much, if you're going to penalize Clemson, they won the national championship. They went down from 1 to 5, which is fair. But they lost less than Michigan did, and Michigan is number 11. And Michigan finished lower than 11 last year after losing to Florida State. We got Auburn at 12. They were 8-5 last year. And I get it, they've got a new quarterback that everybody likes to overhype, Jarrett Stidham, coming from Baylor, transfer. People are thinking he's the second coming for Auburn. He's going to lead them to the playoff. I don't see it. A team that's 8-5 should not be in the top 15, in my opinion. But that's really all I have to say about that. And the last team I have is Texas at 23. Texas is ranked. I just want everybody to see that. Texas Texas Longhorns. They were 5-7 last year. Yes, they got a new coach, but he doesn't even know if he's going to start the quarterback that led them to 5-7 last year. They may be breaking in a new quarterback, and they were 5-7 last year.
What were they?
5-7.
Isn't that a losing record?
It is. They didn't even make a bowl game. And now they're ranked in the top 25 to start this year. I don't get it.
That's why you're not with the AP.
Yeah, well, I think there's many reasons why I'm not with the AP voters, but I just don't understand Texas being ranked that high. I don't know what happened there.
Adrian Peterson knows what's going on, all right? Just let him do his thing.
Yeah, okay. So we've got 5 games coming up this weekend on the Week 0 slate.
Since I refuse to call it Week 0, I'm just going to call it Week 1 Part A.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'd even be fine if the NCAA did that. But with this whole Week 0 crap, like I said, don't get me started. You can talk about these 5 Week 1 Part A games.
As you can tell, Danny is flustered. You'll probably see this a lot more every week, so I hope you enjoy it. I know I do. Anyways, Week 1 Part A. So the first game up, Oregon State at Colorado State. That's going to be at 2:30 Eastern Time. Colorado State is favored by 4 points. Really not going to say too much about this game because it's Oregon State and Colorado State. Who cares?
Yeah, this one's not going to have any effect.
If anybody is in the West Coast up in the mountains listening to this, first of all, I'm impressed that you're getting this podcast, but I mean, I don't care about your teams. Who are they? Anyways, next one is Portland State. At BYU.
So
the D2 school versus the Brigham Young Mormons.
Right.
There's not even a spread, but it's at 3 o'clock if you're interested in watching it.
Yeah, there's a reason there's not a spread. It's because we got an FCS school versus an FBS school, and we should never have spreads on those games.
Right, so D3 versus D1. I mean, what is that?
D2 versus D1.
NAIA versus D1. Anyways.
Yeah, okay.
So, next game up is Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors.
Hawaii,
excuse me. At UMass. Maybe this is why they're called Week 0, because no one cares about these games.
Yeah, maybe. Especially those next two.
Yeah. So the only thing I want to point out about this game is that Hawaii and UMass met each other last November. It was a close game. Hawaii beat UMass 46-40. If I remember correctly, UMass was on my worst game of the week thing that I have going on my Twitter. Check it out at Jacob Camp. I do that every year. Every week, worst game of the week.
Yep,
and UMass was probably there 4 games last season. Anyways, 46-40 game. Probably going to be high scoring again. If you like a lot of offense, I guess you can watch it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason I'd tune in for that game. I don't know if it's on TV. I believe it is. I know the BYU Portland State game is on ESPN for some godforsaken reason. But Hawaii UMass,
Week 0.
If you get a chance to tune in, it might be exciting to watch for a few hours while you're waiting for the McGregor fight.
Yeah, or if you're waiting for a real game, this is where it gets fun. Number 19 USF at San Jose State University. Now, this is usually a game that like Stanford would play Week 1, but all right, USF's going to go ahead and go over to the West Coast. That's at 7:30 o'clock. 7:30 o'clock.
Nice.
Yeah, count it. USF is favored by 20. Josh Love, there's another Love in the West Coast. Yeah, San Jose State's quarterback. He's starting. He had 1 start last year and threw 4 picks.
That does not bode well.
No, but he's starting again. And he's going up against USF's returning quarterback, Quentin Flowers, who is ranked number 33 out of the quarterbacks this season. Also, the running back who will be filling in for the running Mac, Marlon Mack. A lot of Macs.
Yeah.
Ernest Johnson. He had 543 rushing yards in 2016. So even though he was a backup last year, and I think he was third string, still didn't do too bad. You know, he filled in. So this is what I want to see from Coach Strong. Our defense is atrocious over there in Tampa, so I want to see his mind work. Is the depth at D-line going to help?
That defense was atrocious last season.
Yeah. But hey, Augie Sanchez, he's leading the efforts with the linebacker team. They said that they've made some improvements in the offseason, so let's see if that growth along with a good defensive mind and Charlie Strong, let's see if that helps out their defense. I'll be very upset, pissed off if San Jose State throws up more than 3 scores, so which is probably going to happen. Anyways, last game is the Trees, Stanford, number 14, versus Rice in Australia. 10 o'clock at night. They go all the way to Australia to play a college game that's not even going to play until about an hour before the McGregor-Mayweather fight.
Yeah, I think the ratings on that one are going to be a little bit lower than they had hoped.
Yeah, so 10 o'clock. That's why I don't watch a lot of Stanford games, because it's always so late in California on the West Coast. Then they go all the way to Australia to play another late game. I couldn't have just played it Friday night, so we can watch it in the morning. Whatever. Stanford's favored by 30.5. Shaw says that they've been treating it like a bowl game for them. I mean, I'd be pretty pumped if I was going to Australia, but that is it. I wouldn't be really pumped if I was playing Rice. They played last season, and Bryce Love, our running back, ran 7 times for 111 yards, including a 50-yard touchdown. So that was an average of over 7 yards per carry. Also, Keller Christ played in this game as well. He had a 62-yard touchdown run against the Owls. It's going to be another blowout, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a good bet. I mean, 30.5's a lot. I mean, I could really go either way with that one. I think the UMass-Hawaii game, the spread's really low. It's pretty close to a straight-up line. It might be 1.5 in favor of one way or the other now with the latest line movement. But that one's an exciting one. The only thing that I would take this weekend, if I were a betting man, I would take the over in the Hawaii-UMass game. I don't care what it is. If it's 80, I'm still taking the over. I expect that one to be very high scoring. USF will probably get a high scoring game as well. I know you said you'd be upset if they scored 3 times, but I think that might happen.
Yeah.
I think USF's got a chance to put up 50, so I think they'll still win by 20. But I still think they're going to give up 2 or 3 touchdowns, maybe 2 or 3 field goals as well.
Yeah. So that's what we got today or this weekend for college football week 1 part A. # week 0.
Yeah, week 1 part A. I really enjoy that, NCAA. Keep that up.
You won't let us play another video game, but we'll have a week 0. Yeah. All right, so that wraps it up for most of our segments. We do have a couple of little tidbits that we'll kind of fire off at you guys that Danny wants to bring up. So go ahead and knock them out.
Yeah, just to finish off the podcast, like Jake was saying here, just some news from the week that's been, I suppose. In the NFL, you've got Anquan Boldin. He decided to retire from the Buffalo Bills.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I heard on a radio show earlier this week a funny little tidbit about that. Real hilarious for a Bills fan, but I'll share it with you. They said that Anquan Boldin thought it would be easier to end racism instead of ending the Bills' playoff drought. So that's where he's at right now. He did retire. He said he was going to go pursue social activism, and more power to him. He's had
Maybe
a good
start
career.
a comedy tour too.
Yeah, he's had a good career. He's not going to be a Hall of Fame player, but so the Bills sinking ship. Anquan Boldin jumped off right in the nick of time, it looks like. Elsewhere in the NFL, we've got our weekly Le'Veon Bell check. Has he shown up to Has he shown up to camp? No, he has not. Although he did tweet this week that he will show on September 1st. He also said, "You're welcome" in that tweet, so we all know where his head's at.
Right up his ass.
All right, in the soccer world, I covered a little bit of the Barcelona troubles. Iniesta's thinking about leaving. There were some rumors popping up, Messi to Man City. Those pop up every year. We'll see if there's any validity to them in the next few weeks. If Iniesta or Messi leave, I think it's just going to be a huge situation there. I think everybody's going to start asking to go out on loan or just leaving the club, signing somewhere else, having their contracts bought out, all that fun stuff for Barcelona. They did not start the year out well, losing 5-1 to Real Madrid.
You have some bad investments in teams, my friend.
Look, I'm not a Barcelona fan. Let's get that straight. I have a Barcelona jersey because Neymar played on Barcelona. I am now a PSG fan because I'm that loyal in the soccer world. I will die for my professional sports teams in the U.S., but, when it comes to European soccer, I'm going to go wherever Neymar goes.
It.
Yeah, whatever. Only other thing for soccer that happened this week, today the Champions League draw occurred, so I'm going to go through the groups just real quick. Group A, we've got Benfica with Manchester United, FC Basel, and CSKA Moscow. Man U's got a pretty easy group there. Group B, you've got Bayern Munich. You've got PSG with Neymar. You've got Anderlecht. And you've got Celtic, the Irish team. But PSG and Bayern, obviously, huge favorites there. Group C, you got Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, Roma from Italy, and FK. Forgive me for my pronunciations of some of these teams. Karabag. I don't think they stand a chance, so I don't really care about pronouncing their name. Group D is Juventus, Barcelona, Olympiacos, and Sporting CP. Barcelona, Juventus, got to be the favorites there. Group E, Spartak, Moscow, Sevilla, Liverpool, and NK Maribor. Couldn't help you again. No idea. Group F, Shakhtar Donetsk, Man City, Napoli, and Feyenoord. Don't know if that's correct. Again, a lot of these fourth teams are expected to finish at the bottom of their pool. Group G, we've got Monaco, FC Porto, Besiktas, and RB Leipzig out of Germany, I believe. I don't know. Austria?
Somewhere over there.
It's got a Z in their name. They're not going to do anything. Group H, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Tottenham, and APOEL Nicosia. I don't even know what country that is.
So your takeaway after talking 10 minutes about these groups is if there's a Z in the name, don't worry about them. Don't bet on them.
I haven't been talking for 10 minutes. I was just giving everybody the rundown in the groups for the Champions League that starts in a couple weeks. September 12th, 13th, I believe, is the first round of games. It's a fun thing to watch if you're not into soccer. Pay attention to that. Those are the best teams in Europe, and it's definitely higher quality soccer than you'll see here in the States. So, last few items. I got one for college football. On our preview show, I was talking about a lot about N'Kosi Perry for Miami. He actually did not win the starting job for the Hurricanes. It was junior Malik Rozier. And I don't know what to expect. I believe he's also a dual threat quarterback, kind of in the same breath as N'Kosi Perry. But they decided to go with the experience, a little more experience, a little older. We'll see how it pays out for the Hurricanes in the first few weeks. And then in the NBA, obviously, there was the big trade that everybody's been talking about. Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and Ante Zizic, maybe? And Brooklyn's first-round pick go to the Cavaliers for Kyrie Irving. Kyrie had demanded a trade a while back. He's finally gone. It works out best for both teams. The Celtics are ready to compete now for a championship. I still don't think they're going to beat a Golden State team. I just don't think they have a chance. But they did make their team better, while Cleveland got the option of going either way when LeBron decides what he's going to do at the end of next year. If he leaves, they have this first-round pick to help them rebuild, and they can get rid of Isaiah's contract as well and just start a rebuilding process from there. But if LeBron stays, they've got some pieces around him, more than one piece now. They've got Isaiah Thomas, they've got Kevin Love, they've got Jay Crowder, and now they have a first-round pick for next year, so an extra first-round pick. So they could really build around LeBron if he decides to stay next year. I think they're trying to convince him to do so. We'll see how it plays out. But that's it for me. I think that's it for our podcast this week. A lot shorter than our last week's podcast.
Yeah.
And we hope you like the new format. If you have any suggestions, any questions, comments,
fears,
and anything you want to talk
regrets,
about, go to our Twitter page. That's BYSC Podcast.
Yep.
Is the official Twitter handle, but you can just look up Backyard Sportscast and we should pop up. Also on YouTube, that's youtube.com, Backyard Sportscast. Just search for it, it'll pop up again.
Facebook page,
also called Backyard Sportscast. And if you want to hit up me or Jake for anything in particular that you want to yell at us for or make fun of us for, Jake, you can find him at JACOBCAMP. That's at Jacob Camp. And me, that's at Dubdish. DUBDISCH.
We hope that this first official podcast went better than Usain Bolt's last run.
Oh, man. Why you gotta do Usain Bolt like that, man? He is a great athlete, and you're just going to do him like that at the end of the podcast.
So we hope you liked it. Have some more content like this coming in next week. Like I said, like Danny said, just drop some comments. Looking forward to the feedback, conversation. We'll stick with you, and thanks for listening. Talk to you later, guys.